Hi guys, my name is Lisa Whitehouse and I'm the artist behind Whitehouse Art. Thank you for joining me today for one of my mini tutorials. Be sure to hit subscribe if you want to see other videos like this one. Let's get started. For today, we're going to be doing some art for our kitchen. So I'm going to be painting a carrot in my loose rainbow watercolor style. So all you're going to need is some watercolor paper, some paints, and some brushes, and a pencil to sketch it out. A carrot is fairly straightforward, so I'm not going to be doing an image to trace in this video, but I'll walk you through how to draw it. So for a carrot, it's pretty much, we're going to keep this guy a little bit more whimsical, so it doesn't have to be perfect. A little bit bigger on top, and then get smaller on the bottom. And then we're going to add just some small green stems on it. And that's all you're going to want for your carrot. Very simple, very straightforward. Once we add the color, a lot of this is going to be lost in it, so don't worry about getting it too perfect. All the little lines and stuff we'll add later. So this is all you're going to want to have to get started. This carrot is not going to be just orange. We're going to add some pinks, some reds, some oranges, even some yellows. So make sure you have a full range of colors to start with. You're going to have some clear water as well as some brushes. I have an angled brush. When we do the detail on the carrot afterwards, you're going to want to have a liner brush. Something fairly small works, or if you only have something a little bit bigger, just make sure you only use the tip. And then I also like to have a flat brush for adding some of those splatters. But once again, just any larger brush that can hold water will work for the splatters. So first things first, with loose watercolor, I always start with a nice clear coat of water. So we're going to do that here. We're going to start by just filling in the carrot. And we're going to add a few shine marks on it. So once you've added down all of your water, this is a very sort of uneven amount of water, and that's kind of what you want. You want the water to pool in some areas and not. We're going to take a paper towel and add those shine marks. So all we do is dab up a little bit of the water right along this line here. So then first things first, we're going to start with red on the outside. So this is just tiny bits of red right along the edge. Because like I said, I don't like to keep things in one color. I like to have it be a little more rainbow. We're going to add a little more red right down here. I'm actually using a gouache, a red gouache, but a red watercolor works fairly similar. It's just with the gouache you have to be a little bit more careful about how much you use because it's a very strong pigment. So now I'm going to do the orange. I'm actually thinking I should do a video on the differences between gouache and watercolor. Let me know in the comments below if you'd find something like that helpful. You can always let me know if there's other videos you want to see, other things you want to paint in the comment section. I always like to give the people what they want, so to speak. And I'm always looking for new ideas as well. So you guys really help me out when you come up with suggestions. So I'm just layering the colors here, as you can see. I'm going to do a little bit of yellow towards the center. And as it dries, this is going to continue to lighten. I'm losing that little shine mark that I had initially said, so I'm going to go make sure we're keeping it there. And I'm going to continue to layer down oranges and reds. The orange I'm keeping towards the center, the red I'm keeping towards the outside, and I'm doing a little bit of pink right here on the right hand side. And because this is loose watercolor, I want to make sure that the paint bleeds a little bit. So what I like to do to make the paint bleed is take clear water and start from the outside and move my way in towards the painting. So now I grab a little bit from here. And not everywhere, but just in small areas, I like to come in with the clear water and let it touch. And all it does is bleed out then. And same thing here. We're going to go in and let it touch. And you know what? It's drying so fast that it's actually not letting go a lot. So what we can do is go back in and do it again. And some of those will bleed out more now. I'm going to have a little bit of root on this carrot. a freshly picked garden carrot, so. And now what we're going to do is take our flat brush and go in and add some orange splatters here. And where we let it bleed out, it's probably going to, keeping it nice and messy, nice and loose. I'm going to be picking some of this back up with paper towels, so don't worry if you do too much, because we can go back and control it with that paper towel. So that's what I mean by that, is I take the paper towel and I get rid of some of those splatters. And then what I like to do to make this come out a little bit more even is I take a dry brush and I sort of massage this out. Because as I said, I want this to be a fairly loose painting. So just massage it out so that it bleeds out a little bit more. And then we'll just get rid of some of those harsh lines by dabbing up right around here. There we go. So that's drying nicely. And while that's drying nicely, we're going to add the green for the stock. So just like before, I'm going to add some clear water first. Not worrying too much if it touches the red. The red's mostly dry now anyway. I'm going to take a nice bright green. And with the stalks, I'm not going to worry too much about the detail. We're just insinuating that they're there. We don't need them to be too strong and detailed. Even if you have a bit of a dry brush, it can be a nice effect with loose watercolor. I'm going to take a bit of the green here on my thought brush. I'm going to splatter it on there. And now I'm noticing it's drying up nicely, so I'm going to add a bit more clear water onto the carrot. And we're going to darken it even a little more. Because this is a fairly quick painting, so we don't necessarily need to wait for it to dry completely in between. We can just go back and add some more. I'm just wanting it to be a quick, loose little carrot. I think that's pretty much all I want to do. Now what we're going to do is we're going to allow this to dry, because what we want to be able to do is go back and add some detail towards the end, so some of those little lines that you see on carrots, and then it's going to be all finished up. Like I said, this is a pretty quick painting. It's pretty easy to do, so let's let this dry, and then we'll go back and add the final details at the end. All right, so this little carrot's all dry. We can go back and add some of those details I had referred to. So for this, we're going to use some black. I don't always use black with watercolors. It's not my favorite thing to do. But for this piece, I think it'll really suit it. It's going to give it that nice, bold, graphic look that I'm going for and give it that detail that you want. So take your liner brush into the black. And we're going to start by going around the edge and loosely laying down an outline. So when I say loosely, I mean you're going to let that brush really bounce off the page. You're not going to have a strong, defined outside. And this is where it's important not to color within the lines. So having some red show through, not having it consistent, that's all good with this piece. So that's all I'm doing for that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go in and fill in some of those little lines that you see on carrots. I'm not going to do a lot here. This isn't a very, you can see it wasn't quite dry here. That's totally okay. That's part of loose watercolor. If I was really worried about it, I would have dabbed it up beforehand, but I figured having a few bleeding black lines actually adds to the piece. So keeping the brush as light as possible, you can go in and add a few in the center. I'm barely holding on to this brush right now. That's what's allowing the lines to be so fine. I often have people ask me if I use a pen for my watercolors. I never really use a black pen. I can say never, actually. I do sometimes use a white pen, but never a black pen. It's just I use a really fine brush. And then I'm just going to add in a few here. And that's pretty much it for this guide. We're going to sign it, add a few more splatters. A few splatters, because I love them. Maybe a few pink splatters too. Why not? And a few yellow. And that's all I wanted to do there. Some of these are a little too dark, so we're just gonna lighten them up. I'm always doing that, playing around, adding too many, taking some away. And I'm gonna use red to sign it. This is actually my favorite color to sign with. I like the way it stands out in a painting. Fun fact, I never used to sign my paintings. Some of my earlier watercolor paintings were never signed because I either forgot or I didn't like my signature, and I still regret that. Always sign your paintings. And if you're just starting out, it's sometimes nice to date them too, so you can see where you started. So that's it for today. I hope you liked painting this loose little watercolor carrot with me. Thank you. Thank you guys for joining me today. I hope you guys had fun. Be sure to check out my other videos for more inspiration and leave a comment below with some ideas that you want to paint. Thank you and see you next video.